I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. Missing mobile money agent PAMELA CHISUMPA still alive. Men's Network demand apology from UPND member for insulting CHISHALA KATEKA. UNIP confident of walking the corridors of power in 2026 as it rebrands. In international news, final report into corruption under South Africa's ZUMA released. And in sports, government warns a sports federation not to take for granted government financing. Join with the details after this commercial. In other news, in detail, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu says the allegedly abducted mobile money booth agent PAMELA CHISUMPA is alive and well. Speaking when giving a ministerial statement in Parliament Thursday on the safety of the mobile money booth attendants, Mr. Mwimbu says PAMELA has been communicating with the Zambia police and her family. The minister, however, says the only thing preventing the police from tracing her is that her alleged abductors keep changing devices when communicating with her family.
The case of PAMELA CHISUMPA, a 22-year-old mobile money booth attendant along Cairo Road who was allegedly abducted in April of 2022, seems to have gone quiet as there have been no updates from the police. Ms. CHISUMPA, who was reported missing on 16th April of 2022, is said to have followed some men to a car away from her booth to conduct a transaction, but was never seen again. A video surfaced on social media following her abduction, depicting her being tortured, while it is said that her abductors were demanding 15,000 kwacha as ransom. Different stakeholders, mainly politicians, came on board, offering to pay the ransom given that her family could not afford. Since that time, updates on PAMELA have gone quiet, as the Zambia police have been indicating that giving out too much information could jeopardize investigations. The latest update was that PAMELA's phones were picked up at a garbage heap in a community which was not named, and that 8 suspects had been arrested in connection with the matter. Speaking during a ministerial statement on the security of mobile money agents in Parliament on Thursday, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Mr. Jack Mwimbu says PAMELA is alive and in communication with her family and the Zambia police. He explains that her alleged abductors are, however, changing gadgets, making it difficult to locate her. Mr. Mwimbu explains that due to this, no one has yet been charged for her alleged abduction.
Madam Speaker, I would like to state that as of this morning, no person whatsoever has been charged with the offense of abduction. The suspects whom we had arrested, upon investigations, it was realized that they were not directly connected to the offense of abduction. Hence the charges that were leveled against them, which are different from the intended charges which we wanted to raise against them. Hence the issue of theft and other related matters. The police are still investigating the matter with the support of many institutions and security agencies. we are determined to bring the culprits to book. But so far, we have not made any serious headway, apart from those arrests which I indicated.
He has also reviewed that 4 out of the 8 arrested have been released as it was found that they have no link, while the other 4 have been arrested for theft of gadgets. Meanwhile, the minister has reviewed that various measures have been undertaken to ensure the safety of mobile money agents.
Madam Speaker, to curb these criminal acts and protect life and property of mobile money agents, the following are some of the measures being implemented by the Zambia Police Service. 1. Sensitization of mobile money operators on timely closure of their businesses. 2. Sensitization of the mobile money operators on security alertness. 3. Collaboration with Zambia Information and Communication Technology Authority and mobile money service providers on awareness raising and tracking mechanisms. And 4. Enhanced intelligence information gathering.
Parliamentarians who fired various questions at the minister have demanded for results, questioning why the case has stalled. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some local traders at Lusaka's New Soweto market have complained in the manner in which some foreign nationals have taken over their businesses. The traders talked to have lamented to Camnet News that authorities have neglected them by failing to find ways on how foreign traders can be regulated in conducting businesses reserved for the local people. Meanwhile, the Zambia-China Business Association Vice President Elias Mpondela says locals lack the capacity to compete against foreign nationals on the market.
Various concerns have been raised about the influx of foreign nationals in trading premises who have taken over businesses at the expense of the locals. Traders at Lusaka's Soweto market, who opted not to be on camera, explained to this journalist that they feel that the laws on the running of businesses by foreign nationals are too porous, alleging that most foreign nationals have taken over almost all businesses meant to benefit the locals. They have since appealed to the relevant authorities to restore sanity in markets in order for businesses reserved for local traders are left for the locals. And some foreign nationals talked to off camera explained that getting proper documentation for their businesses has been a challenge and have been forced to operate illegally. This journalist managed to talk to a Congolese national identified as Joseph, who explained that acquiring the documents for business operation is only attainable through dubious means. And some traders explained that the trend of foreign nationals taking over local businesses is worrying, citing that even locals opt to rent their trading spaces in view of earning more from the foreign nationals.
Foreign represent maybe a capital times 3 as compared to the Zambia. Then mostly my shops are.
Meanwhile, Zambia-China Business Association Vice President Elias Mpondela, in an interview with Camnet News, has seen the need for Zambians to embrace the culture of working hard, unlike talking, and called on authorities to ensure laws that regulate foreign nationals conducting business in the country are enforced.
Talking. We like talking. We spend more time talking. We are theorists and we are also researchers. We have so many people talking about things and talking and talking. And we have so many experts also who are not experts. We have so many charlatans here, as you would call them, that speak with They speak about things probably to the extent we've been there, but we've been weak in terms of enforcing. We've also been a little bit relaxed in terms of creating environment that facilitates speed processing of all these requirements that the Chinese or any other investor, including yourself, need to start a business activity.
When local shoppers spend their money locally, the taxes they pay benefit their community and benefit their own lives. The million-dollar question still remains, is the business environment favoring the locals? What should be the approach from stakeholders? Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Patriotic Front presidential hopeful CHISUMPA Kambwili has been granted 15,000 kwacha bail by the Kasama Magistrate Court awaiting trial in a case he is accused of using hate speech contrary to the laws of Zambia. Mr. Kambwili was granted bail when he appeared before Kasama resident magistrate Samson Mumba Thursday morning for explanation of the charge. Particulars of the offence are that on dates unknown, but between 8th and 21st of August 2021, in Kasama of Northern Province, Mr. Kambwili willfully and unlawfully did express words of hatred and rhetoric against the Tonga-speaking people because of their tribe and origin. Magistrate Mumba has since adjourned the case to 7th July 2022 for mention. And making submissions before applying for bail, defense lawyer expressed concern that Mr. Kambwili has been in detention since Monday 20th June without being granted police bonds. Meanwhile, Mr. Kambwili, who spoke to his sympathizers upon his release, says he will not be intimidated by the UPND administrations through arrests. United National Independence Party UNIP President Trevor Mumba has alleged that the country's first political party has not vanished from the political scene. Mr. Mwamba instead says the party is currently undergoing a rebranding process just like the former ruling Patriotic Front, which will see the party rise from the shadows. He has therefore expressed hope that come 2026 UNIP will once again form government.
Despite Zambia having come from an election only 10 months ago on 12th August 2021, opposition leaders on the political scene are already keenly looking forward to the 2026 general elections. Stakeholders on the political scene, among them the former ruling Patriotic Front PF, allege that this is due to the current administration which came into power following various promises, failing to make good on those promises. The current administration, in their defense, have however been stating that 10 months is too short a time period for them to be assessed, alleging that they inherited a bad economy. While all eyes are on the former ruling PF, which was recently kicked out of power but now says it is rebranding and is confident of scooping the next general elections, other political parties have expressed the same confidence. Among them is Zambia's first political party, the United National Independence Party UNIP, which seems to have disappeared off the political scene following its loss to the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD in 1991. During the 2021 general elections, the party had 3,036 votes countrywide at presidential level, representing 0.6% of the total votes cast and coming out 10th out of 16 political parties which contested. Despite this, UNIP President Mr. Trevor Mwamba says the political party is rebranding and will be able to bounce back to power come 2026. He was speaking to Camnet News in an interview.
Although we've been quiet, it's not that we've gone to sleep, no. We are reorganizing the party. We are trying to make sure that we are rooted strongly on the values that build Zambia. And so UNIP governed for 27 years. We've been out of power for over 30 years, but we'll be coming back. But in coming back, we must come back with values, with ideologies, with principles that Zambians have benefited from in the first instance and will again.
The UNIP president explains that the party is currently working on its manifesto, which includes the promotion of local investors amidst the influx of foreign investors.
But we want to focus a lot on local investors, have them going into agriculture, in mining, for example. The attended industries add value in terms of our copper production and other copper products rising out of it, refining the copper and going into other industries. It takes the gemstone industry, the emeralds. Zambia is one of the best emeralds in the world, and potentially it can offset all our external debts, but we want Zambians involved in mining, in cutting and polishing of those emeralds so that value is added. So the short and fall is that UNIP's policy, our policy, which we want to put forward, going forward, is enabling local investors.
Multipartyism and political competition is key to preserving democracy. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia National Men's Network for Gender and Development has given a 48 hours ultimatum to United Party for National Development member William Banda to apologize and retract the sexist remarks made against New Heritage Party President CHISHALA KATEKA. Organization National Coordinator Nelson Banda says such toxic masculinity that Mr. Banda has exhibited is what has been discouraging women to participate effectively in politics. Mr. Banda believes Mrs. KATEKA has a constitutional right to protest if she is aggrieved. Wednesday, the UPND member stated that Mrs. KATEKA is sexually starved, hence her decision to stage a lone protest against the high cost of living in the country.
Standard of politics, and we feel that that is very wrong, and we are demanding that he should apologize to Mrs. KATEKA within 48 hours, because what is said, it really proves that such kind of toxic masculinity, are a huge hindrance to women's participation in leadership and the governance process of this country. So we feel that Mr. William Banda should apologize, and we hope that the UPND leadership will also hold him to account for his actions, because this demeans women, and it also defeats the good pronouncement that the president has made as regards increasing the participation of women in leadership. But it also defeats Zambia's commitments to regional and international gender protocols such as the SADC, AU, and other human rights, women's rights instruments. So all these, I think, with such kind of behavior exhibited by Mr. William Banda, we do not think Zambia will be proud to have such kind of people in.
In other news, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has assured the European Union Parliament of carrying out extensive and far-fetching reforms that will have a positive effect on the governance institutions and mechanisms. President Hichilema states that it is in response to the extensive recommendations by the EU Observer Commission and others his administration will undertake significant electoral reforms that will tackle inherent weaknesses in the legislative framework. He says this will address the structural limitations that the Electoral Commission of Zambia faces. And President Hichilema says the reforms will also enhance independence of the Electoral Commission, where transparency is guaranteed to ensure a level playing field across all tiers of political participation. The president is in Brussels, Belgium, for a 2-day state visit.
Of our country in terms of democratic governance, economic performance, and upholding human rights, as I've said already, demands that we take bold action to arrest its decline, which we inherited at a time. This is why we've placed reform at the very top of our agenda. Amongst the critical issues that we place particular attention is the legislative reform, as I said, to curtail excesses of the past. It's important that we just don't legislate, but we also strengthen institutions. oversight institutions, because it's not possible to legislate and expect results without actually ensuring compliance, and compliance is better delivered by institutions that will outlast a political party in office. Very important to us. Honourable members, as part of these reforms and in response to the extensive recommendations, yet again, I must say, by the EU Observer Mission, I see her seated over there. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Your extensive recommendations by your missions and others, our government will undertake, is already started, undertaking significant electoral reforms. Electoral reforms that will tackle inherent weaknesses in the system and mainly to progress towards increasing the independence of our electoral commission, our electoral body, because this is important to ensure participation of citizens is guaranteed, transparency is guaranteed at all levels of political, competitive, elective offices, grassroots up to the presidents.
Government has launched the review of the Public Order Act with a total budget of 4 million kwacha. Speaking when he addressed the media in Lusaka Thursday, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu says the review process will be conducted in Lusaka. The minister says the process will be widely consultative, involving all major stakeholders, among them political parties, church mother bodies, the non-governmental organizations and others.
Public Order Act Chapter 113, Volume 9 of the Laws of Zambia was first passed into law on 19th August 1955 as amended through 1996. The law makes it an offense for any person to wear any uniform or display any flag signifying his association with any political organization in any public place or at any public meeting. Additionally, the Act regulates assemblies, public meetings and processions by providing that any person who intends to assemble or convene a public meeting, procession or demonstration shall give police at least 7 days notice of that person's intention to assemble or convene such a meeting, procession or demonstration. The Public Order Act has been a subject of great concern as it has been in the past abused by those entrusted with power, thereby prompting some sector of society to demand that the Act be revised.
Appearance of political leaders before the police and other law enforcement agencies such as the Anti-Corruption Commission, Drug Enforcement Commission and others is not a new phenomenon in Zambia.
Prior to the August 2021 general elections, the Act was abused where opposition political party members and leaders were arrested for simply exercising their rights to assembly, which prompted the now President Hakainde Hichilema to vow that once in office, the Act will be amended. True to his word, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu has since launched the review of the Public Order Act and says it will be an inclusive process.
This law review process, initiated by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, working with the Zambia Law Development Commission and the Minister of Justice, is to repeal and replace the Public Order Act in order to develop a legal framework that regulates public assemblies, processions, and meetings, while being anchored on constitutionally guaranteed fundamental rights and freedoms.
The minister has also highlighted the objectives attached to the review of the process, which he says will cost government 4 million kwacha.
The specific objectives are to: 1, remove from the statute archaic provisions of the law that stifle the enjoyment of the freedom of assembly, association, and expression in the conduct of public assemblies, processions, and other forms of public gatherings. 2, develop a legal framework that guarantees autonomy to enforcement agencies in the policing of public assemblies, processions, and other forms of public gatherings. And 3, devise measures to prevent arbitrary decisions and abuse of the law in the enforcement of the Public Order Act.
The right to freedom of association and assembly is recognized as a human right, a political freedom, and a civil liberty. Recognizing the cornerstone of democracy lies in the ability of the people to peacefully assemble and associate with others. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Water Development and Sanitation Minister Mike Mposha says government will not tolerate corruption and wasteful expenditure of public resources in the water sector. Mr. Mposha says the water sector is facing numerous challenges which has led to inefficiencies in the delivery of water service, among them inadequate water harvesting infrastructure, encroachment of water sources and recharge zone. The minister indicates that his ministry is developing a 2022-2026 ministerial strategic plan to enhance job creation, gender sensitive investment in water security, industrialization and climate resilient development. He was speaking Thursday in Lusaka when he met World Bank delegation and other cooperating partners from Germany.
In a bid to ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, and provide clean water in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal No. 6, Minister of Water Development and Sanitation Mike Mposha says that his ministry is working on a national water policy which seeks to ensure national water security as well as universal access to clean and safe water and provision of adequate sanitation services. Mr. Mposha says government is committed to eradicating challenges the water sector is currently facing and will be working on a water investment program for 2022 to 2030 worth $5.75 billion aimed at enhancing water security, industrialization and climate resilient development.
It has developed the draft national water policy which seeks to ensure national water security as well as universal access to clean and safe water and adequate sanitation services. The draft policy will be shared with you through the consultative meetings that have been planned. The ministry is also developing the 2022-2026 Ministerial Strategic Plan, which is a successor plan of the 2018 to 2021 Ministerial Strategic Plan. Additionally, the ministry is developing the Zambia Water Investment Program. The objective of this program is to enhance job creation through gender-sensitive investments.
Speaking when he met World Bank country representative for Zambia, Eastern and Southern Africa region and other cooperating partners from Germany, Mr. Mposha expressed commitment to restructuring sewer lines in Lusaka's Kaunda Square Stage 1 area in order to alleviate the rampant increase in sewer leakages in the area.
The restructuring of the sewer network in Kaunda Square, that project has not yet been commissioned. It's yet to be commissioned. So we have engaged Lusaka Water, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company to engage the contractor to see to it that before the project is commissioned, all those problematic...
As sanitation continues to be a challenge in various learning institutions, the Water and Sanitation Minister highlighted that he has engaged various stakeholders to avert the sanitation challenge at the University of Zambia.
Nice to say that we've been having meetings. My PS and PS Education have been having meetings at ministerial level. We've been engaging each other, and we are working towards ensuring that to some extent we bring sanity, we normalize that situation. It will not be dealt with 100%, but I think we want to ensure that water is flowing in the ablution blocks, but we must also have a few toilet facilities for the students too.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Welcome back. We continue with the rest of the main news. United Party for National Development UPND National Youth Chairperson Gilbert Liswaniso has revealed that the party youths have formed cooperatives and applied in numbers for funding under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Liswaniso hopes that this will help in curbing youth unemployment and end allegations of political violence among the party youths. Political party cadres from the UPND and the Opposition Patriotic Front have over the years been in the media for illicit activities, among which is alleged political violence.
The issue of CDF, it's the responsibility of everybody, any political party, student, church leaders, everywhere. And I want to tell you that for the first time we have seen that people have accepted the issue of cooperative. I want to admit that the whole nation, they are busy, Pakra and everywhere, forming these cooperatives. And what we need to do now as a government, it is to ensure that now we give them what is necessary for them in terms of money, in terms of empowerment. And this is what our candidate wants. So the cooperative so far, very well, they organize it. It's not only for UPND, it's for everybody is doing that. Church leaders are doing that. And it's very important to encourage people to do that. So even the means of SMEs should come down now to the local people, the vulnerable people that can access these monies. The CDF itself, the means of sports itself. So there are many things which are happening on the ground. What is important now as a party in government is to ensure that the people get resources and so that they can be getting empowered to improve their pocket and their society.
National Association for Smallholder Farmers President Frank Kayula has called on government through the Ministry of Agriculture to start considering the setting up of aggregation center in all 10 provinces of Zambia. In an interview with Camnet News, Dr. Kayula says this will see farmers start adding value to their produce at an affordable price as a way of maximizing on exports. He says the continued exportation of raw crops on mass scales is also taking away with it employment opportunities that come with value addition.
Zambia has for a long time remained an import-oriented country, while exporting most of its produce from various sectors in raw form, with the agriculture sector having been recognized as one of the key areas for revenue generation. Calls from concerned stakeholders have been for this sector to be maximized, while small-scale farmers, who are the majority in the country, have been advised to ensure that they add value to their crops for maximum income generation. Lack of machinery and the high cost associated with crop value addition has been holding them back. As one way of ensuring that value addition in the agriculture sector comes to reality, the National Association for Smallholder Farmers (NASFA) says there is need for the current administration to start considering setting up aggregation centers in all 10 provinces of the country, as this will help in reducing the cost of value addition for farmers. In an interview with Camnet News, NASFA President Dr. Frank Kayula explains that once stocked with necessary machinery, the centers will be a game changer in Zambia's agriculture sector.
But you know, some of these multilateral organizations, UN agencies, cannot easily be reached by individual organizations in a country. It's government that can go to them so that they provide the necessary finance to set up these processing centers in every province. We need those.
He explains that creating centers for crop value addition will also provide employment opportunities.
The idea of exporting raw materials, why we ate it actually, is because when you export raw materials, you are also exporting the jobs that go with the raw materials in order for you to turn it into finished goods. Generally, when farmers produce and sell to our grain traders or those who are purchasing from them, whether it's livestock or crop, the problem we have is that the value is so little because of lack of that processing. Now let's see if the situation changes and government supports with other stakeholders the setting up of these processing units, processing plants, one in each province. It means whatever we are producing as smallholder farmers will first of all have to pass through these processing units supported by the country. And I know I'm talking like this because I know there's an organization, International Trade Center, that wants these to be set up to help the farmers to be able to process before they sell, so that they get more money out of it than the situation that we have now.
If actualized, this will mean that the manufacturing of products like soya chunks from soybeans and cornflakes made from maize locally will be actualized. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, has reported a 13% increase in the number of suspicious financial transactions for the year 2021 involving 3.56 billion kwacha from 145,852 currency transactions. FIC Acting Director General Leah Tembo says 44 intelligence reports were disseminated to law enforcement agencies who stated that they are still investigating the majority of the cases. Ms. Tembo, who presented the 7th Money Laundering and Terrorist Financial Trend Report for the year 2021, says majority of the cases disseminated were on suspected money laundering, corruption and tax evasion, as was the case in 2020. She says the main perpetrators were prominent influential persons, private individuals and legal persons who in many cases used such as a mode of payment. And Ms. Tembo reveals that FIC this year fined one reporting entity for non-reporting of suspicious transactions. The FIC Director General also says 55 bank accounts worth over 30.3 million United States dollars, 292.9 million kwacha and 106,085 euros held with 8 commercial banks were frozen by FIC. A Kawama Township resident of Chilabombe district on the Copper Belt, Jonah Kolala, has lamented over lack of maternity ward and poor road network in the township. Speaking when Chilabombe Mayor Lucky Suchone paid a visit to residents, Mr. Kolala explained that expectant mothers face a lot of challenges in terms of transportation and distance to the nearby health facility. And responding to his plight, Mr. Suchone has assured the residents that Avik International has been picked to do Chilabombe Kasumbalesa Road and township roads, which include Kawama respectively.
ishina lyanji ninebo chola kolala ishina lyanji ninebo chola kolala ndepero muchinshi kuli ba meya ndepero muchinshi kuli ba deputy mayor ndepero muchinshi kuma party officials kuli ba chairman bonse na leaders na kuma members bonse aba UPND abeshire pali nwenchende inecho ningamona kuno kukawa mechireka birwa kulingana ngefyo ndemona pali no nshita inepa monga finondera ndakwena ndikuno kufune kunchende nomba ndimwina kawama icho ningamona sana kuno chikankala pakwa tumushiwe so wambishe ba meya tumone wako batumuse bo balirapo ichana mbatu chireka bwa mwentungulushi kumona ko batukula kuli bana chifyashi bala pita mu mafia ya payata pata ukula afuma kuno bushuku ya kwisa kukakola kukakoso ama transport tete ya moneke kuno efyo ndemo na ba meya ichireka birwa kya kumona ko batikwena kuli no nchendere mno kwa chili town kulefa iko tumenshi buno bwino abantu bakwa bati abantu bale no tumenshi twalengama ichana mbafo ikireka birwa misebo ichana mbafa ikireka birwa ba meya kuno kireka birwa ko bati kuno kwa botu malaiti abantu bale moneko ko bati kula nikula kalati
International and sports news coming through right after these commercials.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Thank you for staying with us. We now get into our international item. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday, 22nd June 2022, received the last of a series of damning reports from a 4-year investigation into state corruption during his predecessor Jacob Zuma's presidency. President Ramaphosa says the report is an opportunity to break decisively with the era of state capture. He said he would announce his decision on whether to follow the Commission's recommendations in 4 months to Parliament. In other international stories, Myanmar deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been placed in solitary confinement in a prison. The military government says all legal proceedings against her will no longer take place in a courtroom. Supporters say it is an intimidation tactic. Here's a roundup of international news.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa received on Thursday the final chapter of a report on an extensive judicial investigation into corruption. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo handed over the last installment of the report, reportedly 1,000 pages long, to Ramaphosa.
We also have chapters that deal with money flows and how money that was obtained through state capture was moved out of the country. We've got a chapter that deals with that. We've got, we deal also with the evidence of the president as president of the country and president of the ANC. We deal with the evidence relating to the ANC.
The report is expected to deal with the allegations of wrongdoing involving looking at how money flowed out of the country.
For once, even to discuss the evidence that I presented to the Commission, which was led or heard by the Chief Justice. And he has said that he has a chapter or so dealing with the evidence that I put forward to the Commission. I don't even know what that is. And for all I care, because of the high regard I have for the Chief Justice, he could be making he could have made a negative finding against me, which I will accept.
The scandal risked derailing Ramaphosa's bid for a second term as ANC president ahead of the 2024 general election. He says he's a victim of dirty tricks and intimidation from those against his anti-graft fight.
A Congolese group composed of different armed movements has reacted to the East African Community's announcement to send a military force to end the violence in eastern DRC. 7 countries in the region have agreed for the deployment of this special unit led by Kenya. We are facing another insurgency, another aggression from the M23. But in reality, it is not the M23 or the CNDP, but rather neighboring countries that are attacking us and countries that are known. These are mainly Uganda and Rwanda. And if we are here despite the presence of the army, it is because this army has not been able to protect us during all this time. Fighting has flared up in recent weeks between the DRC and the M23 rebels, and Kinshasa is accusing Kigali to support them. If this force is coming to fight Rwanda, which is the real and the main aggressor, I think it will be welcome. But the format must be reviewed. It should exclude Rwanda and Uganda from this unit. It could include Tanzania or Burundi and Kenya, but we must be honest. There are already 17,000 UN men here. They haven't been able to do anything for almost 20 years.
Il y a ici une force onusienne de plus de 17 000 hommes qui n'a pas pu faire quoi que ce soit depuis bientôt 20 ans.
Shortly after the regional meeting, Congo's presidency tweeted that the force should be operational in the coming weeks, but should not include Rwandan troops.
After interviewing dozens of refugees, witnesses and defectors, a UN Special Rapporteur has described the human rights situation in Myanmar as catastrophic.
The junta has carried out a campaign of violence, oppression, and terror against the people of Myanmar. Junta forces have killed more than 2,000 civilians, arrested more than 14,000, displaced more than 700,000, driving the number of internally displaced persons in Myanmar to well over 1 million. The military's attack on the people of Myanmar constitute crimes against humanity and war crimes.
Tom Andrews says children are particularly vulnerable, with nearly 2,000 detained and at least 140 tortured. He says the junta is holding dozens of children and has warned 33,000 young people could die of preventable diseases because they haven't received routine immunizations. The military seized control in February 2021 after elections that Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy won in a landslide victory. 77-year-old Suu Kyi has been under house arrest since then, convicted of incitement and several minor offenses. She denies all charges. On Wednesday, a junta spokesperson announced the Nobel laureate had been moved to solitary confinement in a prison compound. The UN rapporteur has spoken to dozens of refugees who made it to Malaysia. Members of a resistance group, the Civil Disobedience Movement, who were detained by junta forces, say they were beaten, starved, and tortured. Malaysia has urged ASEAN to re-examine its position on Myanmar. The foreign minister says the Southeast Asian organization needs to shift from a policy of non-interference to, in his own words, one of non-indifference. Jamila Alindogan, Al Jazeera.
We now get into your sports news. A Zambian national netball player, Kara Mono, is confident that her team will qualify for the forthcoming World Cup scheduled for 28th July 2023. Addressing the media in Lusaka Thursday, Mono says the team is formidable and ready to compete at any stage. Mono reveals that Zambia's biggest competitor is in South Africa, which is scheduled to face in the qualifying match this August. Meanwhile, Minister in charge of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkandu, has cautioned Sports Federation not to take advantage of the new administration's goodwill by making up wrong figures when applying for support from the ministry.
The national netball team is amongst the teams that will be participating in the 2023 World Cup qualifiers to be staged in South Africa from 20th August to 27th August 2022. Winners and run-ups at the competition will qualify to the global tournament, while those ranked amongst the top 6 in the world earn automatic qualification. Zambia is currently ranked 17 in the world. A netball player, Karo Mono, is confident of qualifying for the forthcoming World Cup.
We had the privilege today unveiling our team going for the World Cup qualifiers in South Africa, which is a good thing. It's not the first time that we are qualifying. We did qualify in 2015, so meaning even this year, this time around, we are eager and promising the people to say we are going to qualify because we've done it before. So we are grateful to the minister. We are grateful to the sponsors also, PEPSCO, who've come on board to support our Zambia national team as they prepare for the qualifiers. For our stakeholders out there, we wish you can also emulate what PEPSCO has done. We need your support. Players need motivation at the end of the day. So you coming on board as PEPSCO is a good thing and a motivation to the Zambia netball national team.
Mono states that her team is ready to compete at any stage.
Our going to South Africa is not in vain. We are going there to perform, and rest assured that we are qualifying to go for the World Cup. Once there, we'll also perform as expected. We are just a team that is growing. Other teams have been there. They've done it, and surely even us will do it.
Meanwhile, Zambia's Minister of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkandu, has cautioned sports federations not to take advantage of the ministry.
We understand now that there are also some other associations who want to take advantage of our goodwill, something that they were not seeing previously. Now government has come in. First one to appeal to the private sector, entice you so that you continue promoting a sport. But there are also these associations now that want to start inflating in case, for instance, they need a 200 kwacha. Instead of sticking to a 200 kwacha, they are taking advantage of our goodwill now to start inflating the figures. So that could also be an hindrance again, I think, in future in terms of government supporting sport, because we may be saying, we are going to get all this money.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Missing mobile money agent PAMELA CHISUMPA still alive. Men's Network demands apology from UPND member for insulting CHISHALA KATEKA. UNIP confident of walking the corridors of power in 2026 as it rebrands. And in international news, final report into corruption under South Africa's ZUMA released. And in sports, government warns Sports Federation not to take for granted government financing. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians 5 verse 1, and it reads, "For we know that if our temporary earthly dwellings is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal dwelling in the heavens, not made by hands. Indeed, we groan in his body, desiring to put on our dwelling from heaven." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.